Hi, I am reading my metaphysical studies book, and I wanted to share this chapter, this module 24, on transformation. Transformation is, for those of you that are looking at it from a astrological standpoint, so that's the energy of Scorpio, 8th house. It's the house of change, transformation, death and rebirth, the phoenix cycle, right? And we all go through this energy. So just as we're moving through now, we have our north node shifting to Taurus, and the south node is in Scorpio. North node means what we're moving towards, what we're kind of collectively uncomfortable with, uneasy with, and that's and then what's behind us is what we're comfortable with. So that's that scorpionic energy. Not so much the higher aspects of it, because the higher aspects we embody and we carry forward with us to help us push through our north node, our direction, but it becomes more apparent of what we cannot take with us into this next iteration, this next cycle. So the north node is there for what, 1.5 years, 2.5 years, I've seen it, not an expert there, but scorpionic energy, when you have that north node, previously would be flipped, they would be moving towards things where we'd see collectively a lot of secrecy, doing things that are hidden, trickery, kind of deception, using kind of ways to take advantage of or manipulate situations. You can be very controlling of it. Scorpio and Taurus are both fixed signs, but Taurus energy is more towards harmony, balance of like nature, the natural flow of things. Libra is the balance energy, but it's going to be moving away from that kind of us versus them dichotomy, trying to do things that are in a hidden manner. Taurus embodies that scorpionic energy, just like Scorpio has that Taurus energy, but it uses it differently. And now what we're going to see is less of that scorpionic energy of ways of being are not going to manifest as easily. So we're going to have to shift and transform, which the sign of Scorpio is very good at, that energy of letting go, dropping, the old, and then building it new. It doesn't do it from a way of Taurus energy of trying to create something beautiful. It kind of does it to destroy it. So it wants to destroy so that it can be transformed. But if we learn how to embrace that energy, that 8th house energy, and cause transformation within ourselves, or embrace transformation within ourselves, accept the need for transformation within ourselves, then we're using that energy metaphysically, and then we're intentionally choosing to go towards a more Taurian energy right now, which will be beneficial for us. If we're still working in that south node energy right now, you're going to see a lot of that not working out for you. So let me just put this up here. How did I do it? I think that worked. You should be able to see the chapter on the screen and read it along with me. All right. Okay, so again, this is from the University of Metaphysics, module 24, transformation. A lesson in metaphysical science. New dimensions in spiritual understanding and practice. Changes in our lives. Changes are always taking place in our lives, as with our friends, finances, and interests. However, the greatest changes of life are the changes that take place within ourselves. Below are questions that you, as a serious student of metaphysics, should be asking yourself. How much do you really want to change yourself? A little? A great deal? How much do you believe seriously needs to be changed? Are you willing to attempt it? Are you willing to persevere once you start in your attempt? Do you have faith and belief that you really can change? Do you have a spirit within you so moving in its determination that you can see things through so that you are authentically transformed? These questions are intended solely to push you into a corner, to back you up to the point where you have only the choice of answering yes or no, not maybe. And these quotes kind of are for study purposes. The great thing about this coursework, it's self-paced. You do it, you know, from home, whatnot. And the chapters give these highlights of those major points. So when you're going back for your exams, you can reference the information more quickly, and it will assist you as you are taking those tests. I'm feeling so fidgety right now, so please forgive me. I'm just kind of really anxious, I guess you could say, but I'm doing this to help calm me. When I study this, it helps calm me, bring me back to center. So it's also, this is helping me right now too in my transformation. Continuing on, perhaps this is one of the only ways one finally reaches a point in life where the one option left is to progress unceasingly. This is representative of the law of self-preservation, when one is forced to come face to face with oneself and one's pain and no longer has a choice. Therefore, the sole purpose of all of these questions has been to prod you, to push you so that you might corner yourself and stop avoiding the changes in your life that you know should have been made long ago. Be in a corner with yourself, for only then will you understand fully how much change you have always been capable of making if you would truly make the all-out effort. The only reason that people fail in the transformation process within themselves is their belief that there is an alternative course to follow, and thus they avoid taking those positive steps towards change that they intuitively know are necessary. This could also coincide with that, that cross on the astrology chart of where you have the fixed signs. In our flashcards for the occult tarot, there's also the world card, no, the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune card, I believe, where it shows all those fixed signs in the corner. So you have Aquarius, Taurus, Scorpio, and Leo are the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. The other signs, you have your mutable and cardinal signs, and those are a little bit more comfortable with change. So when you understand that you have energy, and I'm not just talking about your birth sign, your sun sign, looking at your birth chart and seeing how much of those energies are in there overall will tell you just how fixed as an individual you are, just in general, and how you'll probably approach things with that mindset. It'll push through to your psychology, it'll push through to your personality, it'll push through to your relations to the outside world, how you perceive and interpret things, and then also where you block yourself when it comes to transformation. This is stating that when we think that there's another way out, of course we're going to not do it. But what we see is when people's back are against the wall, when you lose everything, when people hit rock bottom, this is saying you don't have to physically hit rock bottom, or if you have, then this is a way that you can understand that that's possibly because that's the critical point where people actually do finally surrender and realize that they have to change. But you can take control of that information now by being in a corner with yourself, and then make the all-out effort to actually commit to change if that's what you're seeking in your life. It is not until a person's circumstances and or inner emotional nature dictate, you can't do this anymore, you've got to change if you're going to survive. So most people do it when it becomes a matter of life and death. Only then, in most instances, will a person be in earnest about making the necessary changes that will result in a transformation of mind and soul. So it's not just because so-and-so told you, hey, yeah, you should do this, or you should consider doing this, and you're just kind of half-hearted about it, or you're doing it to impress someone temporarily to keep someone in your life. That's not a sincere change that you're doing for yourself in most cases, and it will not be a full transformation. This module and the above questions are intended to demonstrate the need to back you into a corner with yourself, spiritually speaking, where you realize that you have no choice but to make the changes in your life that you already know you must make. What I'm learning too for me personally is when I hit a brick wall with something, I am a Taurus sun sign, but I also have a lot of earth energy in my chart, which is very like Also, earth is like grounding. You want to stay put. So that kind of makes you slow moving to change. Where if you have like a lot of air in your chart or water, you're more flowy with it. Fire, definitely, you can just like change it up very quickly. I have a good amount of all the elements that help balance me, but knowing that I have a predominance of earth that makes me just want to stay put and stick it through to the end and push through a stubbornness that comes through that, which all of the fixed signs are also have a tendency or a negative quality or aspect of stubbornness if you don't use it towards that drivenness to find and achieve a goal. But knowing that I have that, when I have friction, I'm just kind of like learning as I go through this, that if it's not flowing, then it's not for me. I got to let it go, right? If it doesn't want me, I do not want it. If it is not for me, then I cannot try and consume it. It's for someone else. You know, I just got to learn to let things go. And that's when things magic kind of manifest and fall into place, when you don't kind of push so hard for something that is not showing you that it wants to journey with you. And I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about, like, even though that is obviously a way that this can transpire, it's also more like situations. If you're trying to get to an appointment and or to go out and everything's going wrong, your car is breaking down, this and that, the other things, so just like notice those things, that friction, and just kind of don't push through it, because you never know what was putting those diversions in your place. Unless on the flip side, there could be other outside manipulative forces that are trying to block you. And then you got to kind of know if it's in your heart that you feel like you need to be in that space, or that this opportunity was aligned. It could be a series of tests to see also that you're going to make that all-out effort. So then it becomes a matter of nuanced discernment, understanding how to follow your intuition and not just the head. You're not doing it because you're stubborn and you think that this is the only way to do it. You're doing it because your heart feels led, that it feels intrinsically correct. To have your pendulum and you ask, after you channel and program it, to be programmed to truth only and not what you think, feel, and believe, if you still need that outer external tool to help you with that intuition. Moving on, I like this section here, guide to personal transformation. You must decide, know, and be completely willing to follow through in the knowledge that if a change is really going to be made in your life, it must begin with you. You must realize and be determined that where you have been responsible for your own mistakes in the past, you will make every effort not to repeat them. It is important to realize that if you are highly sensitive or vulnerable, you must always be on the alert not to let this sensitivity in life be a deterrent to accomplishing the desired self-transformation. You must be on guard not to let the negativity of others be an influence in your life, which would thereby result in setbacks in your attempt toward inner transformation. You must realize that the use of rationalization as an excuse for avoiding things that would aid in your inner transformation is no longer possible. You must realize that there will be an inevitable loss of some friends, or there may be people who think it somewhat peculiar for you to attempt to transform yourself. Others may unconsciously resent it because it serves as a reminder to them that they are avoiding that very action in their own lives. Hence, you may after a while experience a sense of isolation. This should not be a deterrent, as there is far more to be gained in the process of self-transformation than in what you might receive from friends. That's a very harsh truth, but very true in this work at wanting to rebuild yourself, transformation. Because say you want to change who you are, there are people who are fixed on the script. So this is kind of like awakening, is unlocking your script, right? I'm unlocking my script so I can live my birth chart, so I can be myself, not the programmed self that I've been morphed into. So as I do that, I interact these, like, we like to think of them as video game characters. That's what we say in our household. They're like video game characters. Like if you're playing the game Zelda, you come across this person and they give you some information, or your family who you've been your little nest as you grow up, and they get used to you being in a certain way. And the way they kind of hinder you is because they hold you to that version of yourself that you once were. So a lot of times in their, sometimes deliberately, sometimes unintentionally, they want to talk to you as if you're not you cannot change, or if you haven't changed, or they like to push your buttons and bring you back to those points where you react from your previous script. And it's going to happen, and it happens a lot for me. It has happened a lot for me until I finally just realized, okay, if you're going to continue to do that, you don't want this place in my life. You don't want to see me transformed, and that's okay. I can't hold that against you, but you're not going to. I'm committed now. I'm going to make the all-out effort. That reminded me of a video that I saw with a quote. This is a long time ago. Something she said, I think she was quoting something else, but it was just so powerful for me that this is like, I think she was saying it in relation to like relationships, but this is true for everyone and anyone that wants to stand in the way of your transformation. When you're unlocking yourself so that you can become your true essence, you don't let anyone stop you. You don't let anything hold you to a lesser version of yourself, because I am not that. That's not me. Where did it go? It started with, it's kind of sassy. If I don't find it in the next 3.2 seconds, I'm going to drop it. I'm being stubborn right now. Okay. It goes, for all the doors that slammed in our faces, we're coming back to buy the building. Thank you for showing me you weren't destined to win with me. I'm looking for ride or dies. I wish nothing on you. Just because I wish the best for you doesn't mean I wasn't the best for you, but I wish you the best because I want to see you win. That's the vibration my heart is in. And with that, you can just release them, release that energy. If you want to keep causing this friction in my life, thank you just for showing me where you are and what role you play, what Zelda character you're going to take me down the dark, scary mountain where I'm going to have to fight the boss and go through this hard, but I can go this other path and have a lot less of that turmoil and resistance. But I still wish you the best because you're serving your purpose. And as we go on with this next part, it tells you you're not going to judge people for their quote unquote weaknesses because we had them ourselves. Our journey to become or live out our best blueprint, our human design, has nothing to do with downplaying others or making them feel bad. They'll kind of reflect that back to us if they're not doing it, and that's their business. Who cares? Release it. It has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with you. If you feel you're doing the right thing, continue to do that right thing without having our mind so focused on what everyone else thinks and feels, because that's going to keep you in your script. A lot of them, their role is to keep you in your script until you're able to unlock it. That's why this is called the work. It's not just an abracadabra magic thing that's going to just wake up. It's a process. But there's rewards in the journey as well, in taking that initiative as well, and in that commitment as well to yourself, because you deserve better. Once you decide that for yourself, then you can actually push through a lot of that nonsense and that noise, and you do become isolated. But then you become comfortable being isolated because you're getting to know who you really are. And then you start to build confidence because other people's opinions of you, like let's round up, your opinion of me does not have to become my reality. All right, continuing on because I can go on this forever. As you commence to undergo changes, it is important to avoid the tendency to look down on others for their weaknesses and/or because they are doing nothing for themselves in the spiritual sense in their own lives. Most of us do not decide to make these types of changes in ourselves until our mid-years. How then can we condemn others for behaving exactly as we have done in our own lives? You must begin, possibly for the very first time, to value the idea and concept of faith. Even if you have been an atheist, for none of us can succeed unless we have faith that with God's help, we will be successful. God is the infinite source within us. If we break everything down into our smallest parts, within us is the source of all things. That source of all things that makes you breathe automatically, that you're not having to think of making your heart beat. That is the essence, the source that is God, that is connected and permeates all things and fills all spaces and creates that soul, spirit spark, that life force that pushes everything forward. This is God. And since we are made up of that, we have that God power within us. So if we turn into ourselves and get in tune with that, we can manifest and see a version of us, a version of ourselves that is perfect and whole and pure and deserves to learn about itself and to be who it was meant to be, not who it has been imprinted to be. And so then we begin to have faith in that source, that God, that power. You must recognize that part of the change that can take place within depends on truth. This refers to truth within you and truth in your dealings with others. In fact, the more honest we are with ourselves, the more truthful we are with others, and vice versa. How comfortable are you telling another person that they're reflecting their own stuff on you? How comfortable are you saying to your family this, you're pinning me to a version of myself that I'm not anymore. And because of that, I need to distance myself from you for a while. If you continue to interact with me in this way, I'm going to have to distance myself from you, or just do the easy fade away. I'm just not going to do it for now. Maybe we can come back and connect when you can see the fruits of my stuff. I'm not going to, until I start to, when I'm still rocky, like a baby, a bird, trying to get its footing, while you're still shaky and trying to figure out who you are yourself. Why would you, not want to isolate? We need to incubate ourselves so that we can, get solid in our mind frame. Mindset is everything. And if you have other people trying to think for you and project on you, of course, it's going to make it more challenging. I think that's why the isolation becomes a part of it naturally, because of the need for you to get really resolute in understanding who you are in your own truth, and staying committed and firm in that. Others can very easily deter you from that. Or others can be very supportive in helping you to manifest that. So that was one of the things, I'm getting so talkative, but one of the things that also really helped me was when I did start to live my birth chart, understand it, and then I would attract people in who saw me as I saw myself. In the home life and in different groups, I was very manipulated and conditioned to believe, more or less, and not specific terms, it's like that I am not good, that there is something wrong with me, that I have done something to hold shame, or to feel like I need to continue to prove myself or whatever. You are bad, you are negative, you are this, you are that. And the other people, when I would interact with them, they have this totally different perception of me. I start to enjoy being seen as I would like to see myself, and then I engage in those groups and those dynamics where I felt judgment or discord or anything like that. Distance, where you feel harmony and peace, where you're seen in your true light. Magnetism, connect. Neither the inexperience of youth nor the trials of later years can thwart the efforts of a determined individual seeking transformation. It's not a matter of how old or young you are. When you're ready, you can do so. You must come to the realization that while ministers and psychotherapists are capable guides, they are only guides. The real decision to change must take place within you, from the very courage of the heart. So like I could read this if I took on a metaphysical minister, which is what I'm working to be. If I took on a practicer working with them, I'm not going to surrender to them, guru-ize them, and expect them to change me. I have to do the work. It remains a very, 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 very personal thing. And until you have done that, then you understand that there's a part of me that has not wanted to. There's a part of me that has not been put into the corner. And do I want to wait for that? You must, I already read that. If then, it is a matter of finding the courage of heart and the indomitable spirit of a determined will to make changes. Is it unrealistic to suggest that the God within our hearts and the Spirit of God as our will is something very real to which we can turn? Something that can give you that fuel to push through? Is it unrealistic to suggest that we use that God force, that source, that infinite, unlimited, pure, precious, whole force to lean upon to help us push through? If we feel weak and incapable of doing it ourselves, why don't we go to the all power and then use that as our fuel? Here, religion can truly begin anew for any man or woman needing the strength, courage, and will required for authentic change to take place within oneself. And again, this is not religion that says, hey, outer being, power, superpower that's separate from me when I'm small and I'm weak. Can you please help me do this? That makes me small. That transmits lack energy vibration. I can't do it myself. Versus saying, thank you, all power source within me that connects me to all things that I know, true, and believe is my source. Thank you for showing me who I am and letting all this other stuff drop away. Help me to continue to do this. I thank you for doing this. I'm whole, I'm in the seat, I'm driving it, I'm accepting it, I'm choosing it, I'm living it, and I'm asking for reinforcement of that from what I know is within me already. It's a very different energy. Metaphysics teaches us the vibration of what we ask for. It's a difference of prayer. Prayer saying that I don't have this thing and I need this thing, or prayer saying thank you for being this and doing this and showing me this and giving me this. Thank you, other than begging or feeling small. Here's a meditation prayer treatment to close out the chapter. Divine heart within me, who art the center of the universe, I call forth into your presence, that the spirit which moves within me be moved by your eternal spirit, also dwelling within me. That as I seek to transform my inner life, I realize in so doing that I work ever so close to your indwelling presence. That as I seek to make the changes within myself, which I know are necessary, I feel the closeness of your presence within me. That as I pray that changes are made within myself, I direct this prayer to within myself. That in the end, the Alpha and the Omega of what I am within myself will know not the difference of your presence and that of my own. That through transformation in the silence of my heart, before your throne, which is the universe itself, I may declare I and my Father are as one. Of course, that is borrowed from the good book, the Bible. Meditate, for when a man knows the words God within are not just the romantic words of philosophers, but a reality. Let me read this again. For when a man knows that the words God within are not just the romantic words of philosophers, but a reality, only then does change within appear to be within the realm of possibility. Through the real faith, which is knowing that God indeed is within. I'm not sure why that was so complicated for me to read. I'm like looking at the words, it's the smallest paragraph, but that was like a tongue twister. I'm glad it's on the screen so you can see it yourself. I hope this was helpful. I have definitely been needing this kind of pick me up, this energy, these kinds of reminders and things like that. And so reading this again has been giving me my center, my hope, my faith to push through and persevere through these through this kind of quickening that we're going through, this tightening in, this condensing in, collapsing in against itself, where people are making ridiculous decisions and then other people are making powerful changes and transformations in their life. So I hopefully I can embody some of this Scorpio energy, the positive ones, to transform and move into the Taurian energy of this North Node to harness that so we can get ever further in this nodal transition. Look up videos on that, North Node and Taurus, and what that's about right now. All right, take care. Thanks for watching.